Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Good afternoon and welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for letting me be here.
This is Benjamin Briggs with Alaska Business Journal, and today we have with us Mr. Patrick Campaign, mobile optometrist and founder of SenshiCon Anime Convention. Today we're going to be talking about his practice, some medical approaches, and what his visions are for the future in optometry. So without further ado, welcome to the show, Dr. Campaign.
Thank you so much again, Mr. Briggs. Pleasure to be here.
How long have you been in Alaska?
I was actually born and raised here, so lifelong Alaskan here in Anchorage.
Give us some history of you, your qualifications, and any other ventures that you're involved in.
Sure. Growing up here in town, I lived right beside Kincaid Park, graduated from Diamond High School. After that, did my undergraduate over at UAA. Graduated with a bachelor's in vision science because I knew I wanted to get into eye care for most of my life. Went out of school, went to Portland, Oregon, down to Pacific University, where I achieved my doctorate there in optometry, so in eye care in general. I realized I missed it up way too much back up in Alaska, so that's where I moved back up to reside here and keep camp.
Okay, that sounds pretty interesting. Tell us, what is optometry?
Optometry is the study and healthcare of eyes. Everyone always conveys eye health as just being how well that you see, how clear something is. And then that's when you go to an eye doctor for glasses. Well, that's only part of the equation. How nice does a car look versus how well does it run are two completely different things.
Yes, indeed.
And actually 70% of eye diseases have no pain and no visual signs till it's actually so severe it's too late.
Till it's too late.
Yeah, so just like getting your teeth cleaned, get it taken care of before there's a problem, same thing with eyes. Better be proactive with their care before there's a problem.
What would you say is the most important element in optometry?
The most important element of optometry is, truthfully, be able to educate the public on what optometry is and what eye care is all about. Like I mentioned before, a lot of people are reactive. That's what America is. We are a reactive healthcare industry.
Yes,
if there's a problem, that's when they go and get it fixed. In fact, I just had a patient today who was explaining a little bit of blurry vision and just figured it was just her glasses. Well, it turned out that with no exam for about 4 years, she actually had mid-stage glaucoma, which is permanent vision loss. If we caught that 5 or 6 years ago, that probably would have been taken care of, or even just 2 years earlier.
And she would have been able to be on her drops and some preventive maintenance.
Exactly.
What is SenshiCon Anime Convention?
SenshiCon is the original anime convention up here in Anchorage, Alaska. And as a correction a little bit earlier, I'm a co-founder. I'm not the founder. But it was originally started back in 2005. Just a big group of high school clubs just gathered together to see if there was any interest for this fan group. And it turned out that we had people coming all the way out from Soldotna and Wasilla. So we had people coming, 2, 3, 4 hours away to come check out this adventure because it was first of its kind. Well, that's when we continued on.
So I understand that you have a great understanding about a trending technology called smart glasses. Tell us something more.
Sure. Smart glasses, just like smartphones, is still in its infancy right now. So there's so much potential on it, it's almost overwhelming on what people think that they can accomplish with. 15 years ago, you try to explain what a smartphone can do, it's very overwhelming. Today, it's hard to live without one. You use it for GPS, you use it for mapping, you use it for calls, text, obviously.
Exactly.
But smart glasses is the next step up. How to do all that without even having to pull out a device out of your phone, without even having to look away from someone's eyes in conversation.
Okay.
Makes things more efficient, safer, and more secure.
Safe and more secure. Tell the audience and the readers about the functionality of smart glasses. You said that it can replace the phone, but give us some insight on how you would use, let's say, you never have to look away from the person. Let's say you're jogging and you're exercising and you get a text. You can't hear the phone ring but you can see the phone. So give us some more insight on that.
Sure. That was a really great example. Same thing as well if you're cycling. A lot of benefits for athletics. Smart glasses, they come out in so many different forms. You can have a little info screen, or what's called a heads-up display for the video gamers. On one eye on one side of the screen, you can have it showing up in both eyes. You can have it show up off the side of your vision. You can have it in your middle vision. For example, let's say you're on a plane and you need to type up a report. You know, they don't give you very much room for laptops anymore in order to do anything. Well, you can bring your Bluetooth keyboard, turn it on, hook it up to your smart glasses. You can use that as a screen. It looks almost like it's an 8-foot screen about 5 or 6 yards away. You can type there with it taking no extra foot traffic space. Or if you're doing pottery and you get a phone call or a text, well, your hands are dirty, you don't want to pick up your phone. You can just look off to the side of your screen and say, hey, it's Aunt Martha wanting to call. Well, I'll call her back later. Well, hopefully you won't say that instead. Another really big one attributing to me with healthcare is 3D gaming, 3D vision, and education. Let's say, for instance, doing surgery. Okay, it's really difficult for veteran doctors to teach interns proper procedures when you have either a narrow place to do it at or a very tight window to work through. There's one procedure in eye care where the only way I can teach someone else is if they're lying on the floor about 4 feet away from a 1/2-inch mirror that they're trying to see while I'm doing my procedure. That's the only way. That's how we had to learn in college. With this, I can just turn on the video on my smart glasses. They can now actually see what I'm doing, and they can see the actual video of what I'm accomplishing. And turn on the microphone, I could then talk through how I'm doing it, so then it becomes a tutorial.
That's pretty impressive, and it's actually practical that you do that because people learn usually kinetically with their hands. And if you're telling them and you're showing them at the same time, they have a better chance of retaining whatever it is that you're teaching.
Absolutely. Audio, visual, tactile.
Yes,
that's 3 ways to teach.
Yes, indeed. How do we interest the person who is not very tech savvy? How do we interest them in smart glasses?
Well, the biggest question is, how efficient do you want your life to be? Do you want to spend 3 or 4 hours at home trying to make phone calls? Or do you want to do that either while you're driving or out on the town or out walking in the park or taking videos or taking pictures? Some of the resolutions on cameras are just as high as some of the ones that you purchase in professional cameras now.
Yes, indeed.
So you could just make a smart little deft move on your glasses, or just say click on some models, and it just takes a picture for you. You don't have to worry about it.
The reason I ask is because the learning curve for most technology, people are, I wouldn't say they're frightened of it, but they are uncomfortable with learning anything new. You know, we have a few people who still are operating off of Windows XP operating systems.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so the learning curve, is it intimidating?
A lot of the companies understand that the learning curve can be pretty steep, especially with new pieces of equipment, which is why a lot of them are actually hiring neuroscientists and psychologists to try to figure out what are the most natural ways for people to interact with technology.
Okay.
There's one particular company, you might see their advertisements online, called the Meta Space Glasses. Its interface is very similar to, they emulate it to how a baby interacts with the world. If they want something, all you gotta do is reach out and grab it. That's exactly what they do. If they want to look at something closer, they either bring it up to their face or try to make it bigger. That's what the zoom function always resided from. They're making things a lot more natural and a lot easier to learn.
And I want to get into that, but before I get into that, because that's more of virtual reality, and we will talk about that. But back to the glasses, what is the cost? What is the cost of these technological wonders?
That's always tough to answer. It's kind of like asking, how much does a car cost? You know, how many spiffs do you want? What is your mode of use? You know.
Okay.
Am I going to suggest a Lamborghini to the garbage man or the pizza boy? I don't know about
You
that.
might got a trust fund.
That's also true. I would not complain about that, though.
Okay, so here's a better question then. What are the specs of the models that you are familiar with?
Gotcha. Well, as of today, when the smart glasses first got announced about 2.5 years ago, there's now about 22 different types of space smart glass models. Every one of them different companies, every one of them different specs. If you're looking at raw price, the least expensive that you'll find is about $400. The most expensive, which is another one advertised a lot, the Microsoft HoloLens, which has actually just been on sale for developers about 2 weeks ago, is $3,000. So the specs range drastically from just monochrome, so meaning that the little screen in your glasses can be just one color, most of them green, to being multicolor, high definition, 3D vision. It can actually interact with the room around you. It's pretty impressive, the range, quality of stuff.
Well, I hope that helped our listeners and readers. Let's talk about Oculus Rift.
Okay.
Give me something.
Perfect.
And just for the record, me and Dr. Campaign are both huge techies.
Oh, yes. And as you mentioned about the anime convention stuff, I've always been huge into like the video gaming industry. I was a huge gamer growing up, so video gaming and eye care, well, that merges into techwear pretty easily. Oculus Rift, Kickstarter back in 2012.
Okay.
People thought that was going to be a flounder, and then all of a sudden they got $2.5 million.
$2.5 million.
Holy mackerel. And now all of a sudden, within the next 1 year, the next year and a half, 15 other companies said, oh, guess what? We're doing virtual reality as well.
Exactly.
Imagine the
bandwagon.
time framing. Oh, yeah. Oculus Rift, great one. Most publicity out there. Facebook purchased them. They're going to have a lot of technology involved in that.
So what is, just for our listeners and our readers, what is Oculus Rift?
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Oculus Rift is the pivotal virtual reality headset available. It was the one that spurred the dawning of virtual reality today. The specs on it, really impressive. The first generation equipment, always a little costly to start out with. Mm-hmm. But already they've been doing major improvements just over the last 3 years.
Okay. So is there anything specific? I see you have some notes. Is there anything specific that you would like the audience and the listeners to know?
Sure. I want to explain that there's actually 3 different forms of reality. Mm-hmm. Not jumping into theoretical physics here, but how we perceive things. There is augmented reality, holographic reality, and virtual reality.
Okay.
Smart glasses pertain to the first two. Augmented reality is what's called gamification of your natural surroundings. So instead of just seeing a cup on a table, for instance, augmented reality, kind of like in a video game, you see the cup on a table, it brings up a little drawbar explaining what it is, calorie content, just extra details that you wouldn't see in normal life.
Yes, indeed, I get it.
The next one is hybrid reality, or holographic reality, where you're in your natural surroundings, but you have artificial constructs within it. So think of it like the holodeck on Star Trek. You're still able to walk around, you're still able to interact and touch stuff, but instead of it looking like a flat wall, it now has a painting on it that you want to choose, which you can just slide around and choose with.
They actually did a few concerts where holographic past recently deceased rappers that performed as a hologram. I don't know if you had a chance to see that, but you might be impressed with it.
Well, there's actually a really good app with one appearing like you're with Paul McCartney on stage. We could talk about specific programs like that too, but that actually jumps into virtual reality as well, whereas an artificial construct of artificial surroundings. So you put on these types of glasses, and instead of being in a room, you're now feeling like that you're in this giant tropical paradise with no walls to knock down and surround you with. Now, if you try getting up and walk around, you're going to run into walls. That's the biggest problem that they're having right now with virtual reality. But that is one of the most exciting parts, and that's what the Oculus Rift is aiming for.
Mm-hmm. We're going to have to create a holodeck.
They're trying really hard.
I know they are. It's going to happen, too.
Oh, yeah. There's already one particular virtual reality pair of glasses, which they give you little sensor placers you're supposed to put in the room that you want to turn into a holodeck so that you can then interact in it.
And I don't see that we're going to, it's going to be too much longer because, we're all actually walking around with tricorders.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Very true.
Yeah. Well, everyone has a tricorder.
Mm-hmm.
Monitors your health. It monitors this. You can get information. You can get diagnosis. Yeah, I'm pretty impressed. What is your vision of the future for all of this technology that we're talking about today?
My vision would be eventual integration with technology. We're no longer utilizing equipment as pieces of equipment that you use for either work or play. They're now becoming a part of you. Mm-hmm. You know, you're kind of seeing it with the younger generation, a lot of the millennials these days. They cannot live without their cell phone. They're still utilizing it as a piece of equipment, but it's now become a part of themselves. It has now become part of their entity. And you feel a little strange without it for a while, but
all you got to do is leave it at the house. You will turn around and you will go get your cell phone. I did it yesterday. It's like the lifeline. So, like you said, no longer just a piece of equipment, but it's integrated into our very being.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, indeed.
Mm-hmm. And all this equipment in the end is to make life simpler.
Yeah.
That's all what technology is supposed to be,
which
to
actually
make life easier.
Which actually at times makes it more difficult.
Especially when you have to reformat or,
you can't get the programs to work because the other program, the legacy program's not working.
Oh,
with the
yes.
new plugins.
Oh, yes.
So, Dr. Campaign, I understand that you have an upcoming event. Would you like to share with the audience about that?
I'm sure. Due to high request from a couple presentations I did before, I've been planning on doing a free public presentation about theatrical contact lenses. So these are the ones that you wear for Halloween costumes or what they call cosplaying for anime conventions or for just theater. It's going to be held over at the Muldoon Library here in Anchorage. On May 27th. It's going to start at 4:30 in the afternoon. So that's on a Friday.
How does a person contact Dr. Campaign? Any of the three things that we spoke about today in this interview?
Oh, okay. Well, when it comes to what I do is mobile optometry. So I actually cater to other optometrists to help out with modernizing their practices and helping out with the patients. They can actually attempt to find me on the Alaska Optometric Association website or search for my personal name, Patrick Campaign, on Facebook. That's a great way to keep a hold of me in that business.
Is there a personal website where people can log on and look at, any of your in-depth history? Let's say, do you have a private website?
I do have a private website. It's actually closed for reconstruction until the end of April of 2016. Okay. But it's my consultation business on smart glasses and video gaming called oculogenesis.com. Okay. It is the medical term talking about how an eye forms when the person's first being developed. So that's a good way to explain technology and vision for the future. Okay. So it's oculogenesis.com.
That'll work. So is there anything else that you would like to tell the audience? Any parting important information that you would like someone to know about Dr. Campaign?
Well, if you are a tech fanatic just like me, I hope that you take the opportunity to well, you're going to look online, look at reviews, but look at quality reviews as well. These are not small purchases, and a lot of times you're not even going to learn about what the real use of the equipment is until you actually have your hands on it. That's why I have my consultation work. I'm the one who has to either invest in these purchases or waste a lot of money on either broken equipment or fantastic stuff. And that's what I want to try to talk about. And I'll try to keep that up on the website as well as in presentations here in town.
Okay. Well, Dr. Campaign, it has been a pleasure having you in the studio today, and we will be having another interview real soon. Thank you very much, sir.
Fantastic. Thank you so much again, Mr. Briggs.
Not a problem.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.